breaking news, Yankee fans. We have breaking news. Carlos Rodon is a New York Yankee. Yes, you heard that right. Carlos Rodon has signed with the New York Yankees. Now, pen has not been put to paper, but words have been exchanged. Carlos Rodon agrees to a contract worth 6 years, 162 million with a no trade clause. I was just relaxing, you know, watching some TV, and I had a friend of mine, Jesse. He texted me, and he texted me an image of John Heyman saying Carlos Rodon to the Yankees, and I didn't believe him. I thought it was a joke. I thought, oh, John Heyman. It actually crossed my mind like, oh, John Heyman has it wrong, and and then my friend Jesse, I told him, I was like, nah, that's a joke, right? You're joking. Don't joke with me like that. And he says, no, it's not a joke. This is official. And I was excited. I was very, very excited. We finally got that piece that we were needing. They finally, finally listened to us. Now, I have a tweet from Brian Hoach here that says how Steinbrenner promised Aaron Judge that they could handle his contract and still do more to improve the club. By adding Carlos Rodon, the Yankees delivered. And I couldn't agree with that statement anymore. The New York Yankees delivered. Not just for Aaron Judge, not just for the team, but for the fan base. They delivered. They went out and they got Aaron Judge. They went out and they got Rodon. Now, before I get into anything else, and this is not a podcast episode, I want you to know this is not a podcast episode. I released one yesterday, episode 4. It's up on YouTube and it's up on Spotify. So go check it out. I talk about the Padres and their situation, and I talk about Cashman being asleep, and I will talk about him in a little bit. But let's talk about Rodon and his stats. So this year, he made the All Star team, finished sixth in Cy Young, 14-8 with a 2.88 ERA. He has pitched he pitched 178 innings on the dot. He only gave up 12 home runs, had 52 walks. He gave up 131 hits, had 237 strikeouts. He led the MLB in FIP, which is fielding independent pitching. If you don't know what it is, it's pretty much how effective a pitcher is at preventing home runs, walks, hit by pitches, and causing strikeouts or striking people out. He also led the league in strikeouts per 9 innings, in 12 on the dot, and he also had a 2.6 walk per nine and a point 0.6 home run per nine, which you need if you're going to pitch in Yankee Stadium. I believe this was a fleece of a deal. To be honest, I believe this was a fleece. If you don't know, Carlos Rodon's agent is Boris or Scott Boris. And Scott Boris is notorious for pushing teams to the limit to pay their guys top dollar. I mean, when Rodriguez was drafted, he was pushing Seattle to their limit by trying to get top dollar for him. And the draft is way different. MLB drafts are way different. In the NFL and the NBA, you draft because you believe that player can make an impact right now. In the MLB, you draft based on potential and hope and pray that they're good and they climb your system and eventually they get there in about 3 years, if you're lucky. So it's a lot different. And that was back in the like mid late 90s. So you can imagine. Now, Rodon is heading into his age 30 season, which I like. 6 years. By the time he's digressing, yes, when he's on his last legs, when he's looking onto that horizon, thinking about hanging the cleats up, maybe he's gone. And if he does well, you bring him back. You have him, mentor the younger guys who are going to be there. Maybe have him like a CC role. Like maybe he's not that good, but maybe he could be an inspirational leader. I don't know. Maybe that's a possibility in the future. We don't know yet. But I love the fact that we did not have to pay more than $200. I really do, because I thought we were gonna have to pay that. Maybe I thought there was a possibility that he could get close to 300 just because of his agency. It was a possibility, truly was. But Yankees played it smart and they didn't budge, but they also went and they got their guy. They went and they got their guy. And I will say this. I will give I will give credit where credit is excuse me, where credit is due. Hal Steinbrenner and Cashman came through. Hal Steinbrenner and Cashman came through. And when you look at this rotation and what this rotation could be, you have Garrett Cole. We know what he can do. Carlos Rodon. I just read off his stats. Nestor Cortez. I mean, an all star for the first time ever. At one point, a Cy Young candidate. Crazy. Severino. We know what he can do when he's healthy. And then with your fifth starter, you could do whoever you want. Herman, maybe Luis Heel, Schmidt, Montas. Yankees have one of the best rotations in baseball. Just just their four alone puts them at top five, at least seventh. I would say at least seventh. You have Houston, you have the Mets, you have Atlanta, Phillies. You have teams with some pretty good rotations out there. I believe that the Yankees are top five, at least top five, at least fifth or seventh, depending on how you feel about that. Now, before I end this, I have to give credit where credit is due. You see, in my last episode that I uploaded yesterday, which you should go check out. It was a pretty good video. I may or may not have put in my thumbnail a picture of Brian Cashman sleeping. Well, in the words of Katy Perry, I'm wide awake. Cashman is wide awake. I apologize, and I said this on my Instagram story when the Rodon news came out about half an hour ago. I apologize. I apologize for what I said. I was wrong. Cashman is awake. He is not asleep. And for that, let's give a nice round of applause for Hal Steinbrenner and Brian Cashman. Let's give it up. Yeah, I apologize. I may have been a little off on my statement there, but that's what sports is about. But yeah, that's about it. This is not an official podcast episode. This is just breaking news. Carlos Rodon to the New York Yankees. It's it seemed like it might happen or it may not happen, but it happened. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And as always, peace.